Let's go. Getting ready, about to go live. You know we always have a good time, so count it down, make some noise. Chat is open. If you're here, let us know. Start the cheering. Let's have fun and start connecting. You worry soon you'll be forgetting.
Well, hello, welcome to the stream this Thursday. We have here Ellie, and she has to go work with a client. Yes, sometimes you have to do work, but she will be back in the replay. And if you're watching the replay, let us know that you're here. And yeah, Tim, no, sorry, I totally missed that. And hello, Fishstick, grüezi aus der Schweiz. Nice to have you here. And of course, Anna is here. Happy Thursday. And yeah, that's the greeting part. And now I'll try to start it here. Marianne turned to planning when she needed to take care of her own life. After creating planner inserts for herself, she discovered that many others wanted to use them as well. Today, she has almost 100,000 followers on Instagram, and she has a YouTube channel where she does weekly live streams. She also decided to go full time with her content creation. And yeah, let's talk about her story. Welcome, Marianne.
Hello, Marcus. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on, Marcus. I am so grateful and
Oh,
honored to be on your show. Thank
honored.
you.
Oh, it's so nice to have you here. And yeah, so let's jump right in. How did you become a content creator? How did that all start?
So it was actually an accidental venture. So I didn't go seeking to be a content creator, as you said earlier, as part of my well-being and looking after myself. Back in May of 2019, we had made a decision to homeschool our younger son who has special needs. He's on the autism spectrum because unfortunately the support class in a mainstream school didn't wasn't able to support him, so we made the decision to homeschool him. So as part of creating the homeschooling schedule, as well as creating schedule for myself for the whole day, I started using planning as a form of productivity and a form of self-care. And then I shared this on Instagram because I didn't want to bombard my family and friends on Facebook with all my planner pages. So originally, at its current form, it started off really as just a way for me to show what I was doing down on paper.
Yeah, so you just were documenting what you were doing, and yeah, the planning for you was something you discovered because it was all too much going on, and you needed some structure.
Exactly. So, or I did do what's called the bullet journal method, where you take a blank page and you just note down all in bullet points. But then, since then, it has blown up into something artistic and creative for a lot of people, and that's where I first discovered, planning on YouTube, where people were putting beautiful pages and creating beautiful pages. I did that for a couple of years back in 2017 when I was working full time outside of the home. And then I reverted back to planning and using it as a productivity and scheduling tool as part of our homeschooling. So I actually was doing the Instagram and the YouTube. On the side in between the lessons, and so I was just anytime I had free time, I would take the picture or take a video and then post it with really no intention or strategy to grow any following.
Yeah, so you didn't think that many people would see that and interact with you, and then that did happen somehow.
It did. So because I too love looking at other accounts, their planner pages and aesthetically beautiful planning pages, they're not just your boring, dotted to-do list. It inspired me. And so I thought, well, I was making my own, so I'll go share it out there as well. And as I said, because there was no real intention to grow it, and I think that sometimes organic growth like that, where there is no strategy, so it allows you to be free and not overthink things. So it's important that it's great to also have a strategy if you want to use content creation to grow it and make it as part of an income stream for yourself. But also don't forget the enjoyment and making sure that it's something you want to put out there and it's not overproduced.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good way to start it is without expectation, and you just share because you enjoy the sharing, because all the thoughts, we will come back to them, have so much strategy to do, and self-doubts and things to consider, and in the start you just put things out there, and how did that gain traction? When did you realize, oh, people are really interested in that?
So of course it's a great ego booster when you get the likes and the follows. But one of the things that I have discovered early on another entrepreneurial venture, the accidental entrepreneur venture I had when my two little boys were still babies and I was a stay-at-home mum, I created handmade dolls, and so up here early in the morning, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, looking at forums back then, blogs were the thing. And, people have suggested for you to have that organic growth, make sure you're interacting with other like-minded bloggers or content creators that if you let them know that you're using their products or that you're sharing their content, it everybody loves to be talked about. So what they'll do
Sure.
is then they'll share what you have posted, and then that's where I found a lot of my organic growth comes from. So for those who sometimes we're so stuck in our own bubble that we're trying to grow our own followings and our own growth, we forget to have that community aspect, that it's also important to promote others, because then they will start promoting you, because then if you post something, they'll reshare your post, and then their followers will see you have if they have the time, check your own YouTube channel or your Instagram page or your Facebook page, and then if they start to see that your content resonates with them, they'll start following you. So important to have that networking
Yeah.
strategy. I didn't know it was a strategy back then. I just, I love sharing other people who inspired me, whose products I used as well, and would tag them. And so that's where I think a lot of the organic growth, because then the bigger accounts that have more followings would share my content. And then that's where you'll see an influx of followers and subscribers. And it's important to use that networking or that sharing from a place of true inspiration, not just a sort of like follow for follow. So, because those
Absolutely,
things
yeah.
don't work, do not work at all. And
Yeah, you need to have
people
a
will see.
genuine interest and connection with the people. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly. And as I've learning along the way later on, when I did use content creation as a form of, income stream, is that you want to make sure um, that when you are sharing things like that, that it's going to be of value for your viewer. So it's
Yeah.
not what's in it for you, it's what's in it for that potential viewer that might come along and see your page, or for your current followers and subscribers.
Yeah, but take me a bit on that journey. So you started growing, and when did you shift from, oh, it's just me sharing and building connections, to, oh, this could be something, and I could be more intentional with it?
Yeah, so when as you said earlier, I started creating my own planner insert printable download that I just created for myself, because I didn't find anything that fitted my needs, that weren't the generic, weekly layout or daily planner layouts. And then, as of course I was sharing it, this is what I'm doing today, this is my week. People started asking, where did you get that from? And I said, oh, I just made it myself. And they asked, do you sell? And I went, sell? What? There's a market for this. And so I thought, all right, well, I'll make something. It was, very, very basic at the start, just what I was using, and had to try and figure out how other people can print it at home, because it's a printable download. And then when you see originally I was on Etsy, and then I created my own Shopify store. And when you hear those ping, or those ka-ching. It's like, oh, the dopamine hits, and then you go, oh, that's nice. You get a little bit of a couple of dollars here, and you sort of think that's coffee for this week. And then, of course, when it started building momentum, and I was being able to make a little side money from the side hustle, that's when I went, all right, what can I? How can I take this further within the capacity that I had, time wise, mental health wise? And so I started creating it more, and the more and again, I use products, or I create products that I use myself, so then I can see its functionality, whether it works, the spacing of the planner inserts. So a lot of back and forth with, creating my PDFs. And so when I started to see that, oh, I can make a little bit of side hustle money from this. And then, of course, we have, financial goals, trying to save for a house here in Sydney, Australia, putting some money aside for my son's high school, high school fees. Then that's when I thought, let's go have a look at seeing if we can take this a little bit further than just a on the side thing.
Yeah,
So then
yeah,
that way, when you start to see that it can help your household financially, because I was a full-time homeschooling mum, and so I wasn't getting any income outside of my husband's income. It's lovely to see, and it's a boost to the family's financial well-being.
absolutely. So there was this transition from, oh, I can make money of this. Yeah, okay, now it's some money for coffee, and then you you began to see, oh yeah, this really is an opportunity there. How did that change the way you thought about things and the way you approached content creation?
So then, of course, you start thinking about what your time is worth, as in, if I'm doing a lot of this on my own, as in, like, how to be able to increase your views, your traffic, your reach in in the different social platform, especially with YouTube, where, a lot of people are saying, content creation is it's a growing industry, and it's one of the fastest small business industry that people can take advantage of. And so, since I was already doing it as just originally as a hobby, as a side hustle, then I started to look, well, how can I look at this so then I'm not spending my time at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning searching YouTube on how to get more views, clicks. So then I started to look at investing in myself. So I started to look at, well, what courses can I take so then I'm not spending hours on end watching all these YouTubes trying to find all the different things. So then I looked at different online courses on how to, create better videos, on how to create better engagement on Instagram, also how to, market yourself post wise, and not just as a here's my planner pages. So those things are
Yeah.
one of the things that sort of like the turning point is, okay, now that we are making a little bit of money, how else can we make sure, us as in, my family, my husband and I, how else can I make sure that I'm not so much wasting time, but taking a lot of time when I can go and look at, well, let's see what the experts say who've done this, 10, 15 years. And
Absolutely.
instead of me having to look here, there, they line it up and go, start here, start here, start here.
Yeah, but what if anything does change internally from where, yeah, it's I doing it for fun, versus, okay, now it's an income thing and I have to think about how valuable my time is. Does that lessen the fun of it, or does that change your perception of content creation?
So I don't know if it's just the way I learn, but I'm one of these that, like to learn as much as I can, and then at the same time be able to apply it to the next video or the next post or the next reel. So what happens when it came to, now let's look at this a little bit more seriously, I came across what's called the paralysis analysis. I got so stuck in my own head of wanting to now, well, look, I paid to have this online course that shows me step 1, step 2, step 3. And then if I didn't apply those in the next video, I felt like it actually froze me. So it's important to have that, be able to say, all right, let's look at this strategically, but not also remove too much of what makes it fun for you. So it's a hard balance, because then you go, well, I've invested in myself to be able to learn this, and now I've got to be able to make sure to apply it. So it's one of those things where I have learned. So I bought my first online course, and for 3 months I got stuck in my own head. And so when I was just organically making my YouTube videos, technically when I wanted to, and there was no plan or strategy behind it, I was gathering more, reach, followings, and everything like that. But then when I went to actually put strategies in place, it just went, well, I can't put that out because
Yeah,
it's not hitting the mark with what I've learned. So that is a hard battle to try and get around, is how can you make it still fun, but also make a strategic plan so you're not, wasting time. Because sometimes you just go, let me put this out because I think it's the best production video I've ever made, and it might bomb. And then you make something real quick, and there's no cuts, there's no
yeah,
transitions, there's no edit, and it's the one that takes off. So sometimes you just got to go and press record and not worry too much. And then if it doesn't work as well as you thought, you can use that as a learning experience. So that's now
absolutely.
I'm starting to look at it. It's like, you're not a failure. It's just this one somehow, maybe today, or the day that you didn't know something else was going on. People are outside, like majority of my viewers are in the US, and it's summertime there, so viewership might dip, or it's school holidays.
Absolutely.
People are
Yeah.
not planning. So so there's lots of things, outside factors that may play into it. So it's that balance of making sure you're still having fun with it, but then making sure as well that you're doing all the right things to get views, click-through rates. And so sometimes the
All the
numbers
things.
can
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
down, and so it's hard because you go, well, if I don't apply it, I've just learnt it, I paid for it, what am I doing?
Yeah, yeah, and before it was all for fun, and I mean, I'm still doing all this for fun, and even in this phase, I sometimes have analysis paralysis. Not so much when I'm live, then it's all good, but with all the things going around. But yeah, how do you counter that? Um, you said to yourself, I have to say I'm not a failure, but I imagine there's a strong voice in you that constantly screams at you, you're a failure.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, and I'm learning this along the way as well. And I think my niche, that because I'm planning, habit tracking, well-being, into simple budgeting routines, I actually only probably recently, while I was live streaming, when someone asked, how do you find the time to plan? And then I said, well, I make time for it because it's important that I look after myself as well. So I use planning as a form of self-care. And so for those other content creators, it's important, from what I'm learning, is to make sure to start looking at when your energy level is high. I was speaking to you earlier that I know on Thursdays and Fridays, for me, my energy level isn't as high. So I don't put too much pressure on myself, putting too much task on my to-do list with content creation. So I use that as my day off. And then for the Mondays where I do live streams, or on the Saturday when I do another live stream, I know that my energy level is up. It's important that content creators, even though whether you're doing it as a side hustle, part-time or full-time, that you're taking time away from it, and not not be consumed by it, because when you start looking at the numbers, I've seen other content creators in other forums where I've just posted and I didn't get a lot of views and I
Yeah.
didn't get a lot of clicks, and it's like, post it, go and take coffee and plan the next
Don't
one, and then
refresh the
yeah,
analytics all the
oh,
time. Yeah.
I can tell you, Marcus, I can say to you, don't refresh, because that's going to get. But I'm there refreshing, and I'm even
Sure.
looking at the live 48 or last 60 minutes to see if it's going
Sure.
to hit.
Yeah, and
And
it's
so it's
giving you the dopamine hits, and if it's positive or negative, you still get something going
yeah.
on in the brain. Of course, yeah. It's
What do they say? A water doesn't boil if you watch it. I can't remember the saying, but
okay.
watching a water boil, like if you watch it, it's not going to boil because it's going to take a while. But but then you just turn around for a quick second,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. That makes
overflowing.
sense.
So
Yeah,
yeah, one of those things. So one of the things is really important is start to know when your great creative days are, when you feel like, yes, I want to do it, and then make sure to schedule it in, because then if you try to force yourself, oh, I'm going to make a video today because I said I'll make videos on Saturdays, I'm going to have upload things, then that's when it becomes a chore, and then
yeah,
the enjoyment comes out of it. And I think that's what a lot of new content creators face is, now I got to do it. Before I just thought it's an easy turn on the camera and talk to the camera,
yeah,
but now they say you should do this, have a good clickable thumbnail, da 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 da. So just make sure to schedule it in when you know your energy level is up.
yeah.
So you might have to do it, a few days beforehand, but then just like as you said, the dopamine, the boost of being able to finish it and not have to think I have to do it, and then you take the enjoyment out of it.
Absolutely, and I think having fun with it is especially important, because when we start, we're really not good at it, and then we're getting better a bit, and with a bit better again. But it takes so many skill and a long time to be good at it, and I think having
Exactly.
fun and being enthusiastic can really close much of that gap to we don't are there skill wise yet. So if you go at it with joy, it makes a huge
For sure.
difference if viewers see me and I internally thinking I'm not worth being listened to, then I will transport this on a subconscious level. And if I'm here,
Exactly.
yeah, here I am, and this is the time of our lives, and it will really compensate for much of the skills that are still developing. And so I think, yeah, that mindset and having fun is really, really important.
And it resonates. You
Yeah,
can really feel it through the screen or through the camera when you're when you, I know I've watched quite a few of your live stream, and just the enjoyment that you
yeah,
and your guests have, people can feel that. But then if it's like, oh, okay, so so it's like, why would I want to watch this? It's like just watching your friends, and I think that's the important thing about making content, is like as if you're making it for a friend, or not to chase the numbers, not to chase and get, oh, I wonder how many subscribers I can get from this. I wonder how many watch hours. As much as, of course, I say, don't look at the numbers. I look at the numbers all the time, and that's what gets me down. So you have to put strategies in place, that
yeah,
things that bring you down. So I close the tabs, my YouTube studio app, I close Facebook app, I close Instagram app. So when I'm doing something, because I'm constantly, the mouse is here and I'm constantly like, let's just check, did I get any new likes or comments?
yeah, and
That
that
can
will
get you
not
down.
bring the creative process along. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and another thing is, because your content with planning is very much about the self-care. So I think that goes hand in hand. On the one side, um, you should give a good example, or maybe even talk about what you struggled with, to be helpful to your viewers, and you also, yeah, you can use the knowledge you get from how do I take care of myself, and then also take care of those content creator anxieties.
Exactly. And I think one of my I wasn't going to plan on creating a live video but from last week I had talked about wanting to give up content creation. Is it for me? Did I make the right decision? Am I being financially responsible for my family doing this? And then I stepped back, and again, looking at stepping back from the eye of the storm, and just saying, well, have I tried everything I can to ensure that if I this is not for me, and I've tried everything I can, maybe it's time to move on. But then if you go, oh, I don't know if this is working, but yet you don't go and plan the next video or at least research the next topic, it's important that you make yourself also accountable and go, because it's hard. It's such a hard thing. Content creation, I'm finding out, is can be a lonely place, and I think that's why platforms like yours, where people can see other content creations with their wins, their struggles, how they work through it, is so important, because you can feel so alone and isolated, because you're here in front of the camera, you're here making your scripts, you're here making your thumbnails, and just go, and then when you put it out there and just go, oh, nothing, crickets. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah,
But then when you start to go and make a difference to just that one person, okay, it's you're not the
yeah,
Mr. Beast, you're not the big 1 million followers, but
yeah,
to know that you've influenced one person
yeah,
is such a great feeling. And that's where you have to angle it that way, that when I make this content, how can it help that one person behind that, the camera that's watching me? And because I've been inspired by others when I watch, interviewers like yours, or other content creators. I had my first, interview the other day, and because again, it's
great.
that collaboration,
Yeah,
getting to know your community, getting the people that support you and that have that positive mindset, that all, because that's contagious,
yeah.
as well. Negativity is contagious, but positivity is as well. So surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and knowing that what will my community enjoy from me, rather than I have to make this video so I can get as much search and as much views. And yeah, it's really important. It has to be a good balance.
Yes, and I need to get the confetti because Stuart here for the first time, so you get the welcome confetti. Yeah, I think finding like-minded people is especially important for content creators, because your family and friends usually don't get it and don't know anything about it, and if they try to get advice, it's most likely not the right advice, and so it's especially important, absolutely. And then you said about the self-doubt and am I doing the right thing, and I would like to go deeper into that, but before that I think we have to talk about the next step in your journey where you decided I go full time with that. And yeah, that decision somehow didn't come organically for you, or could you talk about that a bit?
No. So it was half I want to and half needed to. So going full time, as because I was making a little bit of money, as a side hustle with my content creations and my printable download, and a few brand affiliates, and Amazon stuff. So really. Overall, it wasn't a lot, but I was making a little bit of money. So if I was thinking, if I can make that little bit of money when I'm doing it as a side hustle, then of course putting whether part time or full time effort into it, then you would see the income also rise from, go up from there. But beginning of February this year, I just had, I was burnt out from homeschooling. I'd been homeschooling my youngest son for 4 years, and that was, in between COVID lockdowns, um, and I think I was just burnt out. So I had a little mental breakdown, and I just had to ask for help from my husband. And so we made the decision that I might do full time content creation as a way to give myself a break as a homeschooling mum. So it was half, let's try this full time, because I know if I can do this as a side hustle, maybe it'll work out as a full-time gig, and then also give myself a break mentally and just step back and make sure to look after myself that way, because I wasn't in a good form, even though I did have planning and my social media platform as my part of my self-care and taking time off for me. So going full time, they say if you wanted to go full time, really you should be making, at least 25 to 50% of your household income before you quit.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of savings, so it's not ideal that we had to dip into the savings, but you know, mum's mental well-being was as important to our family. So it wasn't a decision that I made to go full time, because there was a lot of questions and doubts, and I think that's where the anxiety comes in when you create content and
Yeah.
it doesn't hit. So it's important.
Absolutely.
So, and of course, for the planning niche, February, right after the new year, and resolutions and creating goals, sales and would dip, and so
Yeah.
that took a toll on the ego as well. But I kept going. Let's try this. I joined Live Streaming Pros Leader Challenge live every day in April, and then that brought on a lot of internal insight of, what is it that can stop me, and what strategies can I put in place to stop thinking about, does my skin look all right? Does my teeth look okay? What will the people say when will I get negative comments? So that took a lot of
Yeah.
anxiety away. So that was a great, little therapeutical challenge, for the mental as well as content creation. So, going full time, it's hard if it's the only source of income
Yeah.
for the family. And this is where, it's taking a toll on me, where you've got the imposter syndrome, for me, especially as a planning niche. And here I am, make sure you look after yourself. Use planning as a form of self-care. If you're feeling down, do this, do that. But behind the scenes, I'm like, bawling my eyes out, because can I do this? What did I do? And then it's just a matter again of making sure you look after yourself, because
Yeah.
it's so difficult to get out of the cloudy thoughts when you don't have enough sleep, when you're not going outside and looking after your health as well. So many factors come in, because you just thought, well, content creation just got to be in a studio in front of a camera, typing or writing my script. But you need to have outside interest out of that as well. And that's where I think I was lacking, is because there's that little bit of desperation that I've got to make something out of this, because it's our
Yeah.
only source of income. And sometimes you go, well, if I take time away in front of the camera or making content, then I'll be behind. But no, it actually improves your positive mindset when you step away from it. Go enjoy time with your family and friends. Go and have your own time by yourself, having coffee, and take yourself away. So that's one of the things I'm learning with content creation, is that you don't have to be in front of the camera all the time, or producing content or planning the next thing. Is step away from it, because that's when all the creative juices
Yeah.
flow, and
Yeah.
you're not stuck in, what do I need to do next? Well, I have to do this, and this is the next trend, and this is the next thing I should make. And someone asked me how to make that, so I should make that next. And so you're in a whirlwind trying to make something out of it, but step back and trust me, you will not fall behind. And if you do, sometimes don't do your live stream on the day that you
Yeah,
said you would, on a Monday. Guess what? Other people have their lives. They don't miss you. They will go, oh, where's Marianne? And oh, there she is. So
yeah,
it's not as if like, but I promise my community, what I've gotten feedback from my community is they actually give me permission to go, Marianne, take care of yourself. Make sure you're looking after yourself. We'll be here when you come back. So that's really one of the great things of having a night, building a good community around you.
absolutely. Community is key. Yeah, and I think what you said with you don't really fall behind if you're not at the full time before the camera, and it's really important because your content is about how to improve your life with planning and how to take care of yourself, and for that you need actually to experience some things and to keep it fresh and have new ideas and not just what happened 5 years ago for you. So you have to go out and experience and how did that change my life when I did this or that. And yeah, if you become a content robot, your content will probably not be the most interesting then. And
Yeah, there's no personality, there's
yeah,
no love or spark behind it.
yeah,
And as you said, like, yes, my niche is planning and using it as a form of self-care, but I see it as well in other niche with content creation, because I being in different online courses that with content creation, I come across many different content creators with different niches. But when people share their own struggles, or you see someone, well, for me as a viewer, I don't go, oh my goodness, they said the wrong thing, or the audio is wrong, or things are crackling. It actually inspires others to go, well, if I didn't mind that happening,
yeah,
the cameras went off, or the I couldn't hear anything, then others seeing you being imperfect in whatever form of content creation you make allows them to see the side of you that's not produced, that's not perfect. So it's
yeah. It
really
makes you
important,
relatable, and people say,
yeah, to
"Oh,
show the
she's a
scars.
human." Oh,
Exactly,
yeah, and
exactly.
she's
And that's why
actually going through the things she talks about, so she probably knows about that it's not easy and all the things. Yeah, and that
yeah, when you get feedback from
yeah,
your community that says, thank you for being vulnerable, or thank you for sharing this with all the flaws, it allows me to see myself in you, because then here I am thinking, that viewer might think that they're no good, that their planning is not
yeah,
perfect, or their video making production is not up to par as the others that they admire and see. But then that someone still keeps going, keeps trying, is really important, and that's what resonates with your viewers.
absolutely. And talking about being vulnerable, so you totally freely came here and said I had a mental breakdown, and it's not just here where maybe you can say, okay, it's not my usual audience here. You do that in your content as well, and I think it's very powerful and the right thing to do. But what gave you the courage to say, okay, I'm coming here and say, oh, I'm not perfect and I'm really struggling, I'm hurting. How did you decide to do that?
At first, it was actually the day that you know, the bit where I needed help. Um, I turned the camera on myself, because I went, at first I'm going, hey, turning a camera on yourself, filming yourself crying. And it was more for me to be able to see how far later down the track, how far I've come from a breaking point to picking myself back up. So it was, So that was February. I remember that February 3rd, and it wasn't until 2 months later that when I was out of it to be able to show to, and this was on Instagram that I showed. I said, I actually was hurting 2 months ago, and this is what it looks like. Because you will see me all happy, hey, fun music, the trending music. And I shared it, and I wanted people to know that you can also be happy and be sad at the same time. And we own and I think what made me share it is sometimes you hear too many things, on the news of even the people you think are the happiest, and unfortunately, are quite sad on the inside. And I don't want the my anyone to go, I wish I knew, because we're in a world where we're sharing so much of our lives already outside of our family and friends. I just want people to know that you're allowed to be sad, you're allowed to hurt, and you're allowed to think that you're a failure, because our mind is not made to be just happy. Our brain takes everything else that's all around us. So I just want people to know, and I shared it because I don't want someone to go, oh, I didn't know, I thought she was happy. And I think raising my hand and asking for help was important for people to see, because I'm a mum, and I've been successful in careers outside of the home. I've led people. Why do I feel like a failure? What is going on? And I just want others to know that you can be self assured, you can be confident, and also at the same time feel like you're not doing enough. And there is nothing wrong with that. And so that is why I shared on my social platforms, because then I want people to know that, oh, okay, so alongside Marianne's fun planner pages and fun music that goes with it, and the videos of showing how to's, that she too struggles. I too struggle, and it's okay,
Yeah.
because if someone is showing me that they're struggling, then it allows them to give themselves permission to, oh, it's okay to be sad when things like this happen. Oh, it's okay to get angry when things don't go your way. We're of human beings are a multitude of emotions, not just happy, happy, happy. So that is the reason I shared it so much more. So not for, showing my struggles, but that I don't want people to go, I didn't know, when they could actually help someone. It's like sometimes the happiest person may be the one that's hiding the most hurt. And so I
Yeah.
always make sure that even, family and friends, just that, again, that connection and community is so important.
Yeah. That's so powerful and so inspiring. Um, and yeah, I think it really can help a lot of people. But still, would like to know, was it the first time you really were vulnerable big time, and how scary was it to put it out there?
It was, because then, because I've seen other people that, and you hear of stories of people that put their vulnerability on camera, and later we find out that it was all for show. And then I'm going, that was another scary thing to put out there, is what will people will say. People say, why are
So
you putting this on there? Who cares if you cry? Who cares? It's like, just show me your planner pages. I'm not, because I've seen that with
dance
other
for me,
people who,
monkey, so to say.
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
so I, and you know what? My channel, my page is called Marianne Cresp,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get me. So you get
That's
you.
great.
I can easily put all the just the happy pages, but then. I want to share myself. Like, I don't share everything, so that's
Of
important
course.
too. Don't share
Yeah.
too much. But I think what the thing is, how will this bring value
Yeah.
to my the people who watch me. And then that's when people go and thank me, because it was scary. I'm like read like when the messages, it says comments, and they go, oh, here we go. Thank you, Marianne, because you
Mm.
have shown your vulnerability. I too have been feeling this way, and they didn't have anybody to tell. And so just that one, even if it was just that one person. And that's why when you are creating that content, having that core value of, how is this going to help someone? Is this just for me? It was, I could have easily just kept to myself and kept going, but um, when I see others do it and show their vulnerability, it then allows me to give myself permission to also know that it's okay not to be happy all the time, because you know
Yeah,
that's just impossible.
and just to see, oh, I'm not alone. Maybe even with that specific anxiety, I'm not alone. That's so invaluable. So, but
Yes,
it was really scary to do, and then it was overwhelmingly positive feedback.
it, it was the thing is with my content is I don't I'm open to you giving me feedback or constructive criticism on the page, but I don't allow anyone attacking me. Others, might use that as a form of, well, I'm going to leave it there because any engagement is good engagement, right? For me personally, I remove anything that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So when I see a comment and my heart rate starts going up and I'm like ready to be defensive as well, and they're going, I don't need to respond to them. I
Of
can
course, yeah.
easily leave it there if I want, but I actually take it off, because then it tells other people that do come onto my page that I don't allow that sort of talk on mine. It's because I may be able to handle it, but then someone else who comes onto my platform and read it and go, oh my god, if she got attacked, then I can't share whatever personal things I want to share, not to the world, but to maybe friends, because I'm too scared that someone might say something. So even though, yes, we know there's lots of hate and there's a lot of trolls around there, I think by not allowing it on my content, it tells people that I don't tolerate that stuff. I'm open to you criticizing the work, but
Yeah.
attacking other people on me is just, it's not something I do. So there wasn't actually anything negative at all that came through out of it. And I thought there would be, at least one or two going, why are you crying? Why are you sharing this
And
stuff
that didn't
for?
happen. Yeah.
It didn't happen. And even with the one that I just did recently on, on live, where I shared that I think I was thinking of wanting to give up, it, I think it allows people to see that, you go through all these emotions, but then you go, well, what? And allow yourself to sit in it for a while if you don't know what to do with it. And people have gone, Marianne, you take your time. When you're ready, come
Yeah.
back. We'll be here. And then you put strategies. So whether it's your own personal thing or your content strategy stuff, is if you're too into it and it's making you feel, crappy, I'm not liking it anymore, step back, but then come back.
Yeah.
So make
Absolutely.
sure, yeah. So
Yeah,
and then if you
that's the
tried
thing.
everything,
Yeah, that's the thing.
you go,
If you see I could get burned out if I go forward that path, you have a decision. Okay, I just go as hard as long as I can, and then I'm burned out, and then it's over. That's the one decision one can make, and many do make. Or you can say, okay, no, I'm gonna change something. I'm gonna slow things down, but I will get much more done in the long way that way.
I'm currently reading a book, Hell Yeah or No, by, I think it's Derek Sivers, where it's just, if you're not saying hell yeah to something, if let's say someone says, hey, Marianne, you want to go out? And you go, you
Okay.
know, it may be a no, if you have to go and think about, if you don't go hell yeah. And the other thing that I read just recently, which was really good, is it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be black or white. Do I do content creation or don't I do content? Because, like, Well, what about in between where you might want to go part time and do content creation? What about you? Let's try content creation for a little bit. And if it doesn't work, do something else. Whatever decision you make now, it's not a forever thing. You can change your mind. And then
Absolutely.
if things aren't working out, it's figure outable. I think it's Marie Forleo that says everything is figure outable. If you
Yeah,
don't know how to go live, just press and then just go. On my very first
exactly.
live, I pressed live and then my sound just there was echo because I had, I don't know, my phone or something, and I ended it and I went, oh, the live ended. So I went back and created another live stream broadcast and go,
Yeah,
okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I hope. And then, many live streams before that, the audio was bad, the video was bad.
yeah,
I
but it's
kept it
all
there.
worked out. Okay, you kept it even there. Yeah,
I kept it there because, again, that is a little tally on the board for me that goes, remember those struggles that you
yeah,
had and look at where you are now. It may
yeah.
be only a few steps from where you thought you would be, but it's still a progress. So those are the little markings that I'm making for myself, that when I'm in a moment where I say, I can't do this, looking back and go, you said exactly the same thing a couple of years ago when you were in a similar challenging moment, but you made it. You made it happen. So it's my sort of like badge of honor to keep those lives there, where I'm, oh, and there is, oh,
Yeah.
shh, and it's like, I zoomed out one time. I zoomed because I do planning, and I zoomed out, and it showed like the point five the view, and I'm there, and I went, oh, lucky I'm wearing pants, because I'm there going, so, and then that was one of the funny things, that I'm wearing
Yeah.
pants today, everyone, so it's okay. So you just you take every good and bad, and that's what makes you where you are now. So
You have
uh
such an inspiring outlook on life and positivity. It's really beautiful to see. Yeah, I want to touch once again on this feeling. Okay, am I doing the right thing? Is it does it all have a point? And I mean, we talked about how you maybe were going for the decision full time, maybe a little bit hasty due to circumstances, and yeah, that can make things even harder. And because yeah, content creation, we all have to deal with occasional self doubt and all those things to learn, and you added all that pressure of I need to make really an income with it. I mean, I don't know where you found the courage for that, and yeah, all that pressure, and then you came to okay. And for me, a very natural question: am I doing the right thing? I think if I were in your place, I would ask that to myself every time I wake up in the morning, and
and
yeah,
I do.
you do. Okay, yeah, but
I do.
very
I still
understandable.
do.
And
Yeah,
but how do you keep the positivity and that dedication? Yeah, let's go. And I haven't really tried everything I can. Where do you get that energy and positivity?
there was this one cartoon of, um, so it was a two-level cartoon. So one it, and they're digging under the dirt, and on the other side, and then on the one end of the cartoon was all the diamonds. And so one of the digger one of the digger was that close, and he turned around because he gave up. There
Okay,
was another one that, who knows what's on the other side of this next video? Who knows what's on the other side of this next post? And because I haven't tried all the things that I can do, I can't give up yet. The giving up doesn't mean that I have to do this full time. I may have to just do this part time, or I
yeah,
may have to just do it again as a side hustle, because it's important that I'm also uh, looking after my family. So
yeah,
they have been so helpful in helping me look after myself. I can't jeopardize my own family's well-being by not having the income coming through because, of course, I want to be able to have the go on family holidays. I don't want to be saying to my children, no, we can't buy that because we don't have the money. I don't want that to be the
Yeah.
dialogue in my children's head by me wanting to pursue something because at the same time, as much as I am a dreamer, I know mentally I'm also rational in my thinking when I'm thinking when it's not cloudy up there, when I don't have the self doubt. When I'm actually when I've rested, I've walked, I've eating well, I actually do go, come on, Marianne, you got to make a decision here. So whatever form I take this tomorrow, whether I'm doing it, still doing it full time, I'm going back to it as a side hustle, and or I go and make a look for full time work outside of the home. I'm still going to try because this next one could be the next video that a brand, says, "Hey, Marianne, I just saw that video. Someone tagged us." And, can I always say to my husband, imagine someone else, if a brand goes to us and says, can you do a 6-month contract with us and we'll pay you this much? And it could be that one video that could have made
Yeah.
me be found. So that's still important. It's important that if I haven't tried everything yet, and I know myself that I'm good at what I do when I do it and when my mind isn't cloudy. So I just got to make sure that I'm looking after myself outside of the content creation. So then my head is clear that I'm not going to say the self doubt will vanish or the imposter syndrome will vanish or that won't, the vanity metrics won't get me down.
Of
But
course.
if my mind is clear, then I'm able to go, stop that. Get back to the strategy that we had put in place. So that is what actually inspires me is what's on the other side. That these big accounts and big influencers, we think, oh wow, look how much they're making, but they, not all of them, but a lot of them have been doing it for 10, 15 years.
Sure.
And we are in the baby steps. I'm only like in my first or second year, and I've seen people that go, if I gave up when I wanted to, I wouldn't be where I am now because it's hard. It's you have no control of the social media that you're on or the platform you're on, but you have control of what you can put out there. And if you no longer enjoy it, don't do it because you're just going to, you're just lying to yourself. But if you know you love it, but what's just stopping you is the process and the strategy, change the strategy. You don't have to post every week. You can post once a month. And I think there's, accounts that do that. They only post every month and
Yeah.
they. So it's really important that if I stop now, what's behind there?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
that's
you're
what's
you're like the explorer going through the world and what's behind this door and let's try that. And I see the joy that you have for that. And I mean realistically, in the time frame you did it now, that's really not to be expected that you're already there. I think that it's
yeah.
totally normal. It's basically a startup, and you have to go to the
Yes.
process. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
content creation industry as a small business, you have to
Yeah,
look at it like it's like a lot of businesses fail in the first 3 years because they're
yeah,
not putting stuff strategy. It's the same as that. I wish I was that kid that just will show how toy reviews and get millions and millions. That's not me. So
yeah,
yeah, I was saying to my children, go do some YouTube videos so mum can be a millionaire. And they're not
yeah,
interested in that. So I got to do it the hard way but who knows what comes out of it.
yeah.
But yeah,
I
really
I,
important that
I see a huge potential in you because you have that very analytical, logical side, very
yes.
strong. But you also have that side, a dreamer and have fun and explorer, and you find ways to bring them together, and I think a really powerful thing to have and put out in the world. And you already showed how you can be open and authentic, and how that attracts people to you and your channel. And yeah, I think the odds are in your favor, and the rest you
I
have
hope
to
so.
the
I
rest
hope
you
so.
have to go and explore and get a bloody knee and get up and get a diamond here and all the things. And
I
yeah,
think so. Yeah, and enjoy it. I think
yeah,
that's the what I'm learning is if I feel like the next video is work, I'll put that in the back burner and make something else at the moment that will light up the fire again. And then from what I've learned, oh, I'm not putting that in place. It doesn't matter. So I don't zoom in. I don't. Or I don't transition in this video. I didn't even show my face in my, one of my recent videos. But it's important that, I still do it because I wanted to make that. Um, video. Sorry, my household is starting to wake up. So if you start
okay.
here,
My household has to shut down now, and yours is waking up. That's if we're opposite sides of the world. But Marianne, it was so very inspiring talking with you, and I will go back and listen to everything you said once again, because that is. Yeah, it's really so inspiring and interesting to see your journey, and it will keep being that way for the foreseeable future, because you're in a really special place in the content creation journey, where you're finding out all the possibilities and ways and all the ups and downs and highs and lows, and I'm sure you'll find your way there. And thank you so
yeah.
very much for sharing your story here with us, and thank you everyone in the chat.
Thank you. I appreciate, and I just want to say before we go, Marcus, you've been such a wonderful support, and this is where I talk about finding your tribe that you vibe with, and finding that those people that give you a positive energy and the positive lift, and seeing your emoji dancing when I'm doing my live, and then also seeing your lives and talking to different content creators. um, this is where that virtual hug, comes in, because we
Yeah,
we talk about the ins and outs of content creations, that it's not an easy thing. And so I just want to tell you that you are a beacon of light and
thank you
support
so
for many
much.
others, and you make sure that you also look after yourself, and and
I'll do
and just
that.
and really what you're doing has helped so many others, because I saw you first when you interviewed a content creator friend of mine, Claire Sarah,
Yeah,
and the way you interviewed her and asked those questions, you really bring out what will help others. So good job, Marcus.
thank you so much. And I'm really right now in the process of figuring out, because I stumbled into it. Uh, like so many of us, and I've tried figuring out strategy, direction, and yeah, that really is I think what I lean into is inspire people to go out in the world for themselves then, and yeah, so that means a lot, the feedback from you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
appreciate you, and I'm grateful for you.
thank you, and thank you all for watching, and see you next week. Bye.